Thank you so very much. Ms. Nanton, MC, for today's event. Senator Lavon King, Minister of State in the Ministry of Education. Board of Directors, NCTI, Mr. Petros Gums, CEO, NCTI. Mrs. Ronette Lewis, CEO, NIS, Senior Education Officers, administrators of the various credit unions. Thank you. And Ms. Shauna Davis, representing LEAF. Members of the media, graduates, friends all. It really is an honor and great privilege for me to spend the next few minutes with you, sharing some insights from my own experience, having interacted with similar participants throughout the Caribbean, and in particular, Trinidad and Tobago, where I was stationed for a while lecturing at the Arthur Lockjack Global School of Business. So it's a privilege for me to have this conversation with so many ambitious, creative, and determined young entrepreneurs. Let me say here too, some of you are still in school, but don't let that limit your dream, your ambition as an entrepreneur. We could give you many examples of persons who during their school years have excelled in various forms of business. What you have to do is to make sure that that does not distract you from outstanding accomplishment at your academic responsibilities. So be very careful with that. There must be some degree of balance. Presenters before me have indicated that you have done advanced Microsoft Excel, you have done QuickBooks, professional invoicing, workplace readiness, entrepreneurship, and strategic application of artificial intelligence. Don't run away or shy away from artificial intelligence. That is going to make a significant difference in how well you perform after you have left secondary school. But that is a challenge not only for the young among us, those persons who are more advanced in age, those whose hairs have turned gray, and those who have lost their hair, also can benefit from learning more about artificial intelligence. So, you have done these studies. Don't just see it as academic. Your presenters would have shared experiences with you, and basically what they have sought to do, and I get a sense that they've done so well, is provide you with best practice in relation to systems, structures, and procedures to succeed at business and to succeed at life. As you go through life, there will be challenges and there will be temptations to compromise on best practice. We've heard the descriptions given about persons who had to exit the program who didn't even stand a chance because of the way they presented themselves. Don't underestimate the impact of a first impression. Recently, one St. Vincent group, which I was a part of until the end of May when I retired, had been expanding by leaps and bounds, not only here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, but you now have one St. Lucia in St. Lucia. You have one Jamaica in Jamaica. You have one Barbados in Barbados. And just recently, we established one Grenada. And a group of us went down there to interview potential staff members for one Grenada. And the example that was given here about the first impression, I could tell you how I felt when a young man came in with his pants by his knees. Well, that's an exaggeration. It was below his bottom. And very untidily kept. And even before we had a conversation with him, he was already ruled out. Be very careful how you carry yourself. The way you carry yourself says a lot about what you're thinking and who you are up here. I want to leave with you 7 key things that you should look out for. As you start your business, 1, start with purpose. Understand why you are going into that particular business. Understand the why. Why are you doing it? And always it is important to look beyond what you will get from your business to anticipate what you are delivering to the customer. If you focus on helping your customer to make more money, you will do well. So focus on the customer. So start with a purpose. Why does the business exist? Whose problem am I solving? How will people's lives be improved? And as we focus on improving others, we will improve. Always remember, as you pause to be a blessing, you will be blessed. Say, Jules, roll that back, roll that back, roll that back. When you and I pause to help other people along the way, as a business person, as an entrepreneur, our businesses will develop. My good friend and mentor, and it's good to have a good friend and a mentor. One of my best friends and best mentors is the former CEO of Neil & Massey in Trinidad and Tobago. That was before it evolved to be Massey. His name is Jesus Pazos. We are still in touch. When he took over Neil & Massey in Trinidad had 92 companies, and he was the big honcho over there. I find comfort in having conversations with him even today about things that are happening in business. Please try to find somebody that you could have a conversation with. Somebody that you trust, but somebody that you know, deep down you know, that they have an interest in your success. But be very careful, and I emphasize that, be very careful. It is not that you go to each and every person and tell them what your dreams and ambitions are. You have to develop what we call a spirit of discernment. You have to know who you're talking to. And you have to know why you're talking to them. And also, at your age in particular, be very careful who influences your thoughts. You have dreams and aspirations, but don't think that everybody else around you have the best interest for you. That would be very naive, that would be very foolish. Be very selective, but also don't rule out people who can help you. And when you need help, ask for help. Don't try to go it alone. We were not designed as a people to do things on our own. Yes, it's good to have the passion and the drive, but you don't do it all by yourself. You would have developed some friendships in these 3 weeks that you spent in this program. Nurture those. These are people who you could go through life with, but be very careful again. Avoid being distracted and focus on your mind and your thoughts. 2, character is your greatest asset. Always remember, honesty and integrity is what you should be standing for. Sometimes young people make the mistake, when they have the bright ideas and they have a lot of drive, they make the mistake of trying to trick the system. Trying to get away with things that you know you should not get away with. Always focus on honesty, integrity, and purity. Number 3, understand and appreciate that it is not everything you start will turn out well, but failure has its value. I can share many experiences from my own life in areas where I would have initially failed, but it strengthened my resolve. When you go through life and you get your knocks, and you will get knocks, I'm not saying so to be pessimistic, I'm saying so to be real. It's a realistic situation. Everything you do will not come out right. Yes, you would have learned best practice. Follow the best practice. But even as you follow best practice, there's some situations that will be totally out of your control. When that happens and you get a blow, learn from it. Again, I go back to my good friend and mentor, Jesus Pazos. Just last week, a young person was sharing with me challenges that she had experienced in her workplace and the kind of unfair treatment that was being rolled out. As destiny would have it, I was having a WhatsApp exchange with Pazos. And Pazos responded, and you know what he said to me, even as I share that with him, and I now share it with you. He said, remember, he was in charge of 92 successful companies in Trinidad and Tobago. He said, Jules, some of my greatest life lessons occurred when I got beaten and when I felt rejected with a project. So it will happen, but learn from it. But remember, we often use the example of Thomas Edison, who is credited for developing the light bulb. He says, he tried many, many times. He said, I have not failed. When he didn't get it to work, he said, I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work. The reflection there is from failure we can learn. Number 4, never stop learning. Never stop learning. It's good that you have invested the time and effort and energy to learn from this 3-week program. Continue to learn. Learn from the internet. It's amazing what you could learn from YouTube. It's amazing what you could learn from many AI programs like ChatGPT. Learn. Continue to learn. Read. Attend seminars. Make sure you listen to uplifting podcasts. And you hear how I describe it? Uplifting podcasts. There's some podcasts that I would advise you not to follow, with a lot of negative. That ain't going to help you in your business. You need to focus on the positives. That when life hits you on the blind side, you have something to hold on to. Those persons who believe in Jesus Christ would memorize Bible verses. And when life hits on the blind side, it's a Bible verse that they go. Many persons commit to memorizing quotations from persons like Dr. Maya Angelou, the great American poet who recently passed away. She had such a bad experience as a little girl, but we don't have time to go into that. But coming out of her bad experience, she was able to encourage and influence Oprah Winfrey, one of the richest persons, one of the richest females on planet Earth, when Oprah had a bad time. It's good when we have persons like that we could hold on to. Oprah, we could use many quotations from her, but let me go back to Dr. Maya Angelou, a quotation that I really like. She says, and I paraphrase, I put it in my own words, I may not remember what you said. I may not remember what you did, but I will remember how you made me feel. We need to go out of our way to make people feel accepted and appreciated. And one of the things about getting your business to really go forward, and again, it comes from my good friend Pazos. He says, people like to do business with people they like. Think about that. People like to do business with people they like. Be likable. Make sure that your body language, even when things are not going well, when you interact with your customer, let them feel accepted and appreciated, and your business will do well. Build those relationships. Number 6, manage your money wisely. Cash flow is important. And for those of you who are embarking on your entrepreneurial activities, sometimes you get distracted when you start to see money coming through, especially if you're not accustomed to dealing with those kinds of monies. You have to discipline yourself to not go on a spending spree. Discipline yourself to put aside some to invest in the business. That is important. And finally, point number 7. Look for opportunities to give back. Even as you develop, even as you grow, how can you help somebody else grow? How can you help somebody else develop? Some other entrepreneur along the way may come to you looking for advice. Don't push them away. You know what I have found from a personal experience? Regardless to how busy I am, when I pause to help somebody along the way, I learn from that experience. And so I reflect on another quotation from Dr. Maya Angelou, who says, when you pause to teach, you learn twice. When you pause to teach, you learn twice. When you pause to help somebody, you're helping yourself. And that is how life is. Bob Marley says to us, and a lot of people don't realize that a lot of Bob Marley's lyrics are taken from outstanding Caribbean philosophers. He says, or he said, because he's no longer with us, the greatness of a man is not how much wealth he acquires, but in his integrity and his ability to affect those around him positively. Let me just repeat that. And you put yourself in there and seek to live this like Bob Marley did. The greatness of a man is not in how much wealth he acquires, but in his integrity and his ability to affect those around him positively. So as I get ready to close, let me just say to you, and this is a quotation that comes from Ezra Taft Benson. I wish I could claim the content. It's the content that I would like to leave with you, but it's not mine. It's from Ezra Taft Benson, and this is what he says. Beloved youth, you will have your trials and temptations through which you must pass. But there are great moments of eternity which lie ahead. You have our love and our confidence. We pray that you will be prepared for the reins of leadership. We say to you, arise and shine forth and be a light unto the world, a standard to others. That's my desire for you as you embark on your journey. Thank you very much.